And officially recording. So hopefully everybody can hear us and everybody can see us. Chris, good to see you, my friend.
Good seeing you, bub.
This is the officially first, podcast / stream of the Paint Nerds.
The Paint Nerds.
The Paint Nerds. Yes.
Using the Orcish spelling.
Yes, the Orcish, because Z's are important.
Mm-hmm. Z's are important.
And that like the Wazdaka.
Or Z's if you're in
Canadian.
the European Union.
And Canada.
And Canada?
Canada
Uses Z. Well, we've already digressed.
Our neighbors to the north actually have things pretty unlocked there.
Mm-hmm.
So the official start of this is basically going to be the very first episode is don't follow the rules. Don't follow the rules. And I actually personally can't stress that enough, not following the rules.
Yeah, rules are meant to be broken. They're more like guidelines than actual law.
It's no longer the painting rules, it's the painting suggestions.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why I do that is to me, yes, there are many shades of a color, many tints of a color.
But gray has 50 shades. There's going to be a lot of this, folks. Lots of this.
But honestly, though, 50 Shades of Grey. Wow. That's going to go through my head the whole stream now, 50 Shades of Grey. But I'm one of those people that, like, if you have, like, Warhammer minis,
mm-hmm.
like, we're going to use Warhammer for this. And it's a great game, great minis, great terrain, great ways to paint, and they give you a lot of rules. And but I found that a lot of the older generation players, like you, for instance, for Blood Bowl, green is green, red is red. As long as the decals are on there right, and everything is table ready and all that, there's no one really cares.
No.
As long as you have the general color scheme, you're pretty
color
solid.
Scheme and proper labels, you're golden in Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
I built a Lizardman army out of D&D kobolds, and they were fine with it as long as I played by the rules.
Yeah, that's pretty much the fundamental of it is the rules. But with painting, you're going to see there's a lot of people out there who paint, and I see a lot of customers come in. And by the way, we're both commission artists for painting miniatures. Little guys like this, the little Space Marine. I tend to focus a little more on terrain because I really like my terrain. And hey, Chris, could you do me a favor and Chris?
Oh.
Can you do me a favor and grab me a piece of the terrain that I just got done with?
Guys, we're live.
Yeah, we are live. That was my phone.
Stream of consciousness.
Hey, get a hold of Sarah because she called me for something.
Okay.
But this is the terrain I like to, work on because you've got the war torn kind of, really dark, dulled colors. You've got the hatches still seem to be in working order, but most of the building is pretty much destroyed. I'm a huge fan of grimdark style, especially for terrain, especially for war terrain, where things have to look dirty, they have to look broken, they have to look like like you got your guys standing there and they're shooting through the building to get to their enemy.
Yeah.
I like that. I love that style. And when I first saw it being done on the Grimdark channel on YouTube, just shout out because this is not my unique design at all. And a lot of other artists do the same thing, so I am not unique to that particular genre. It really grabbed me. It looked real. It looked like
it's a really good, especially for that style of the game. Like,
absolutely.
Like 40K, absolutely grimdark as all get out.
And
you want oil, you want blood, dirt, they've been tromping through all kinds of other planets just with only the kid on their back and some occasional drop zones. So you're gonna have, it's grim and it's dark.
And it's gonna be gritty. And when you make your terrain look gritty, when your terrain looks like hell hath fallen upon the land, that style is just amazing. And the way some of these guys do their vehicles in the grimdark style, the miniatures themselves in that style are just just phenomenal. They're gorgeous. And, you know, a lot of people that I've noticed have come in that the one thing I hate hearing, and I know you've heard it too, and I know you and I both kind of go, but it's not that hard, is when people come in, they see the work we do, they go, oh, I can never do that.
I said that 6 months ago. Now I'm commissioning.
I've said that for years, and you know, my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, every time I say it, they just look at me, and my wife gives me that death glare of like, will you shut up? You're just fishing for a compliment right now. And in a way, it's true, but also in a way is I don't see it as I'm doing good enough, but a lot of people see it and they're like, oh wow, and I love that reaction. That reaction is great. I'm going to tell you guys right now, for me, and I know for him, when you look at our work, and when people come in and they see it and they just go, oh wow, I could never do that. And the first words coming out of my mouth are, yeah, actually you can, because I literally just threw paint on it.
Yeah.
You know it, and I love that.
And so many people also are their own worst critics.
Right.
Like, I'll look at something and I'll see every flaw, but my customer might be like, oh my God, that's great. I love the way you did this. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you. You know?
Yeah, I did
That's
it.
off camera. There you go.
I'll do it for you. How's
Thanks.
that?
You got one too.
Aw, that's awesome. But no, I did a Tiamat, and you remember the Tiamat
oh,
we
yeah.
got up here.
Came out
And,
great.
and I was scared that people were going to be like, oh, you know, because I did a lot. I'm that guy who will sit there and go, you know, I just don't want a flat color.
Yeah.
I need to mix something in it.
Well, especially on a living creature like a Tiamat or like any dragon.
Oh, yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I'm, you know, a zookeeper in real life. So, yeah, there's never a solid color in the natural world. It's always like blendy and shady.
But I was actually worried that nobody would like it. I was genuinely like, people would look at it and be like, oh, that's cool. And I'm like, yeah. How much is it? And when I tell them the price, they kind of go,
yeah.
And I was one of those people that I wanted to sell it for a lot less than I did. But at the same time, I had to see if my work actually had value.
Right.
And when I had a customer come in and goes, that's going on my end table. That's going on the end table in my game room. I'm like, it's gonna what? I was like, Socrates. I drank what? You know?
Yeah.
And he bought it full price.
Wow.
And he didn't even bat an eye. He literally just stared at that thing as his credit card practically melted in the reader. You know, and he was so enamored by the fact that not only was this hand done, and he looked at the colors and he realized that it wasn't just flat colors, that I had taken the time to look at the each individual head and the body and make it as unique as possible, while at the same time staying true to the character.
Right.
You know, which was a lot harder in my little world of terrain than for a lot of the more professional miniature painters, because the thing stood about, I think, 11, 12 inches tall, and it had a wingspan that was just, let me get my hands in front. That was just like, it was just huge. The wingspan was massive.
It's Maldrakar from the Reaper models, if you want to.
Maldrakar from the Reaper models was basically Tiamat, and apparently took a name change for the company. It's kind of like the North Sea. It's the Arctic Ocean, but it takes a name change on its way down to Scotland. You know, and they make kids swim in that, just so you know. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of my first foray into, wow, I can really do this. But it wasn't enough for me to be able to do it, because I fumbled my way through a lot of stuff. Like, I remember the first mini I ever painted. I'm gonna tell you what, it was not a sight to behold. It was. I tried all these cool techniques, and I followed the rules, and it was a mess.
Yep, same for me. My first D&D mini that I painted was a little bard, little halfling bard, about that big with a flute. And you know, I had Walmart paints.
Yep.
And I just slapped some paint on it and called it done. And I thought, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. And my friends who played with me at the time didn't know any better either. It's like, oh, that looks really good. Flash forward 4 years into this campaign, I'm like 3 characters later, and I've got this gorgeous, you know, little gnome with a bionic arm, and he's got this cool mechanical dragon that he commands. And you'll look at that, and then you look at where I started, like, good My hands are off camera. Good grief, that's really, really different. Like,
Yeah.
you can definitely see. You gotta suck before you get good, and
Well,
so many people want to be good right away.
I honestly don't think my niece, who's a black belt in Taekwondo, and she's a 3-time world champion.
Mm-hmm.
I had to throw that out. Lexi, 3-time world champion. You're awesome. I love you. That crown is a little big for your head, and those rings are big for your fingers, but just don't drop them on the hardwood floor. I'm pretty sure you'll do some damage. But one of her instructors and I had the same thing, me being a blacksmith's kid, is, failed isn't a bad thing. It literally stands for first attempt at learning.
That's a really way to look at it. Yeah.
And that was the adage I took into painting. It's like, you know what? I'm still learning. And I find that if you keep people, like when one of the big things you're going to see on this channel is if you keep learning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to fail. Failure is awesome.
Yep.
Because I look at it from I like to take this perspective, is failing is awesome simply because failure is exactly that. It's a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at it as you're learning, you're going to learn that ever dreaded for me dry brush technique. You're going to learn that, a spritz from an airbrush for your shades and your inks are going to change the way they hit the model, how they drape and how they drip and how they fill in the model. And yes, I will say this right now, I hate dry brushing. I can't dry brush to save my life. I fake it really well, but I personally cannot dry brush.
It takes practice. I'm still learning. I'm decent, but it's always that first swipe always has too much paint on it. No matter how much I brush it off, so it's just a light dusting. I then go on, and that first brush, still has paint on it. Dry brush a little more, and then it's perfect.
But you know who impresses me with their dry brushing skills? Like here at the save point, the owner Chris, like he'll sit there and he'll mash the crap out of his brushes on a piece of paper, and I'm sitting there going, but that, and then all of a sudden he's just all like it's like watching Bob Ross. It's like, I'm gonna put a beautiful little tree here, I'm gonna put a little glint here, and it's like, oh my god, it's great dry brushing. You teach me, senpai.
How did you do that with a knife?
Right? It's like I watch him dry brush, and it's like I don't have that skill.
Mm-hmm.
But he'll sit there and look at my stuff and go, "Oh, that's great," and I'm like, "Okay, cool, awesome," And I love watching him dry. I love watching him dry brush. I mean, it's like watching Bob Ross make a painting when he dry brushes. Mm-hmm. It is a sight to truly behold, because you watch a lot of these guys on the professional like Citadel channels, doing we're just gonna do a little I'm gonna do a wee little dry brush here, mm-hmm. and we're just gonna catch the corners. I catch everything from the inside to the outside and the corner. I don't just catch the raised edges. I catch the whole section.
That's a whole episode in and of itself, just dry brushing.
It is.
So one of the goals of this channel is we're going to go through the different techniques and talk our way through everything, so it's not like on the Warhammer channel, which is great. Love what they do. They'll show you step A, step B, and then step F, and then step Z. We're going to take you through, hopefully, the whole series.
We're going to try to simplify it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you guys right now, because this episode is all about not following the rules, is you don't need, name brand brushes. Mm-mm. You don't need name brand paint. Mm-mm. You don't need name brand primer. Mm-mm. You don't, you can go to like the Save Point here, or I know a couple people who will literally print it, like resin print miniatures. Yeah. Ask for some throwaways. Ask for, like, if you want to practice a technique, like, I literally, anytime a 3D print fails here, I'm literally asking Chris, hey, can I steal that so I can test this idea? And he goes, it's a failed print, I don't care.
Conversely, another thing you can do, remember the little bags of Army men?
Right.
Prime them, practice.
There you go.
Yeah, you don't need...
It's like $3, you got 50 miniatures you get to paint. I never thought of that idea.
You need a swarm? There's a swarm.
There you go. That's that. I never would have thought. I hate you and I love you at the same time.
I was at Walmart earlier today, and I passed like the great value knockoffs of knockoff toys.
Oh,
and I was like, oh,
God,
look.
yes. And Chris is right. You can take any plastic, prime it, and paint it, and get an idea. Now, keep in mind though, there is a big difference. And we're gonna get into this on another episode when we actually talk about paints, and that is literally its own episode, is paint. And you're gonna find that there's different consistencies in the paints. Like you can get like 5 different acrylic paints, and they're all gonna have 5 different consistencies. They're gonna have 5 different flows. They're gonna have 5 or 6 different. I mean, you can get white from 5 different companies, and they're all different types of white.
You can get the same color from the same company from the same shelf, and 3 different bottles will have 3 different consistencies, despite being all the same thing, just depending on how long they've sat on that shelf.
Yep. And that's really weird. And we're also going to teach you little what I like to call quick hacks. These are things that with a little bit of money you can create really cool stuff, like that La Main medium I made for you.
Oh yeah.
Citadel, the company that sponsors a lot of the Warhammer paints, great primers, great paints for Warhammer. Some of them are a little thicker than I like, but they have this really cool stuff called La Main medium. And I scoured YouTube, and I found a way to make it, and like literally look up homemade La Main medium, and you'll literally on Google you'll find a whole list of videos, but I found that stuff works great.
I'll bring in the mini I painted with it. It's the Headless Horseman. No brush strokes.
This is all La Main medium. Like, you don't see any brush strokes in this guy's paint at all. Like, you see just like it's almost like a glaze, and this was done with the gloss version of the La Main medium that I made, and that stuff really just blends everything together. It was a beautiful hack, and I'm glad somebody put it out there, and I'm glad I was able to actually do it and make it for people like Chris and myself, and the owner of the Save Point. I made him a set. It's great. There's also ways to make. When it comes to paint, though, there's like washes and shades that you're gonna find, and don't follow the rules on those either. Like, if you want something to be shiny, typically use a gloss. If you want it to be matte, use just the regular like Newland oil, or the Drakenhof Nightshade is always going to be flat.
Yep.
I don't think there's really a way to gloss that stuff up. I mean, I'm gonna do that. I'm literally gonna bring the camera into the paint area, and I'm gonna attempt to make a glossy version of like Drakenhof Nightshade, just to see if I could get that really cool, deep blue. I mean,
I'm sure if you add
shiny,
a certain medium to it. I don't know the mediums.
I would say just gloss medium.
Yeah.
See, this is how we do things. Like, we're supposed to be helping you and showing you ways to break the rules or not follow the rules, and we just I had this really cool idea, and I think I might try it somehow. Another thing about following the rules, especially if you get into a game, is a lot of the older players, they're not going to care as long as you follow a color scheme. But also keep in mind, you can do your own thing. I have seen people bring miniatures that they custom painted to fit their little world that look absolutely fantastic. And every player at the board was like, cool, what set they using?
Yeah.
Like, they really don't care. It's like, oh, these are my idea of Raven Guard. And it's like, hey, cool. As long as they're using the Raven Guard kit, you're solid. As long as all of your guys are following the same rules, that's kind of important. The rules play more into the game than the actual figurine.
Right.
Another thing about breaking the rules is, the whole you don't need expensive brushes. You can go to Michael's or Walmart, and as long as you get a brush set you can get those packs of brushes for like $12, $24. And you could probably get even cheaper ones at Walmart, the little Crayola ones. Like, oh wait, didn't you?
I literally.
He does. He has them.
I got these. My toddler is with us. He's our executive producer. He's napping right now on the job. But I got him these to play with.
Well, when you're paid in milk, what do you expect?
Oh yeah. I got him these to play with while we were talking, and it's like, Crayola. Just And from the look of it, this would be pretty good for like shading.
Actually, this brush right here would be great for not just shading, but actually using inks.
Oh yeah.
Like using the washes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, actually, can I use one? Because
Sure.
I'm gonna grab some wash.
Go for it.
All right, we're first time painting on.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna use New and Oil gloss that I made.
All right.
This is a black glossy wash, so it's gonna add a shine to everything. Let me grab a plate. Palettes. Another thing is like you don't go out and spend like $80 on a palette or $20 on a wet palette, because if you use Lame Medium, you can use a dry surface palette, and basically I'm literally using a wax coated plate.
Yeah.
That's literally all I'm doing. So I'm gonna see how this cool little brush. I'm gonna do it like my wife does when she does her makeup. You know, this cool little round brush. If my wife sees that, she's probably gonna laugh at me. But I'm gonna charge up the brush with that ink, and I'm just gonna glaze over the model with it. And oh yeah, goes right on. You can see it filling in and kind of running a little bit, and you just keep brushing it down, and it'll give it that darker like hue. I'm gonna fill in, see if I can. This really gets in there. I kind of like this brush. Kid, you lost your brush.
Well, you know, Crayola, they're kind of known for their art supplies.
You know, I wouldn't think that, like, you know, painting a Warhammer miniature with a Crayola brush on a live stream, first episode out. I think we just lost any chance of sponsorship.
Unless we go to Crayola.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure they'll be like, you just painted a Warhammer miniature with our brushes. We're trying to make kids happy, not adults. I'm already like killing any sponsorship with this, so, but yeah, it's got that. It goes on nice and clean. Got that dark little hue on there. It's all musty and broken, and got the like oily slab. It's gonna shine up real nice.
Mm-hmm.
This brush really got in there. I
Yeah.
think I need to thin out my new one a little bit, so it kind of go. But I like the way it kind of went on. I kind of like that. See, that's the thing about breaking the rules and not following the standard is when you make your own stuff, when you literally sit there and make your own like black wash or your own earth tone wash and stuff like that, you're always playing chemist. And I think that's like the most important part. Like, one of the things most people don't know is you can add thank you very much. Is you can literally add acrylic ink to acrylic paint to change colors. Like if you need a red to be a little darker, you could take like some Liquitex ink, and I do this on occasion, is I'll put a drop of that into a color and darken up the shade just to see what happens. And you just need a little bit. It's literally, if you know how to mix colors, you start with your light and you add your dark to it. The darker color always comes second. But I've actually mixed paints with acrylic ink and just got a really cool shade. And you can tint if you get a white. Obviously, you can tint and get the same thing. It's a great way to go. You get all of your little scales in the middle. But keep in mind, your primary colors are your primary colors. Your secondary colors are your secondary colors. Your color wheels, kind of the gamut. And whatever you're painting, whether it be a miniature or you're using, like I know a lot of people who buy these for their own little, projects because it's good acrylic ink.
Yeah.
Red is red, blue is blue, white is white, green is green, yellow is yellow. And you're going to get those, you're like anywhere you go, if it's a brand, like Citadel or Tamiya or, yes, we're shouting out all these really major brands where you're going to spend money on, a specific color or a specific shade of a color. But in the end, you can take any of those and use it on any project. You don't have to use it on a miniature.
Right.
Like I've painted tables with it. Just like literally, I just put some primer down, started painting away, and it worked great. It goes on. The only downside is I didn't get a chance to seal it.
Right.
And people were using the table. I'm like, But don't just like, if you're gonna get into this and you want a simple foray and you want to get some practice in, we're gonna go with your technique. We'll call it the Walmart challenge, the Walmart paint challenge. Go buy the cheapest pack of Army Men and acrylic paints from the art department and some paint
The red
brushes.
apple paints, little 50-cent paint pots.
There you go. And I will
bring in my Triton palette in that I painted in that technique.
Oh yeah.
It came out shockingly well.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've been doing this a while, so I'm pretty sure everyone's going to be impressed.
When did Volo's Guide to Monsters come out? That's how long I've been painting.
Wow, that Volo's Guide to Monsters. I think that was
4 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that was with like what, 4.
No, it was 50.
Oh, that was 5e.
Yeah.
5e's been out for like what, 4.5?
7 years now, I think.
Wait, I thought 5e.
Guide to Monsters was 2016.
9 months.
2016.
Oh, 2016. So yeah.
Yeah, it's 2021 now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Man.
Yeah.
You're gonna go.
They just need to look for a 1 in the front of the year to Cardis now, man.
Oh, this is how we get banned from game stores.
Yeah.
Like, but seriously, break the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Go try it. I mean, if you really want to get into a miniature game, or you just want to paint, or you want to be creative and have that outlet, do the Walmart challenge, man. It's definitely going to change the way you view the work. And at some point you're going to bring in an army guy and be like, "Hey, dude, check it out! I did the Walmart challenge," and everyone's going to be like, "What the hell's the Walmart challenge?" Like that. Like this is our first episode, and we're issuing a challenge to painters. I feel like we're going to get a lot of heat for that.
Probably.
But it'd be worth it.
Yeah, especially all the different minis that Walmart carries now.
Yes, you do account in this, brother. Overbrushing. Yes. Overbrushing is a thing. Overbrushing is absolutely a thing. And what Brother 13 is talking, or Brother 12, sorry.
That's me, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm well versed. What overbrushing is, and we do take questions, and please feel free to ask questions at any time, and we'll look over and answer them. Overbrushing is when you don't think you've done enough, and you keep adding a bit of paint here and a bit of paint there, or you're putting too much on your brush and just glopping paint everywhere. Using a thinner like water or Lame medium actually helps with that, because you can actually put less on and get a better effect.
Yep.
Overbrushing is dry brushing with more paint.
Yeah, but overbrushing is anytime you use too much or you go too far in your brushing. But yeah, what Brother 13 would just clarified is, he feels that sometimes he'll overbrush in his dry brushing, where you hit the same spot over and over and over again with your dry brush, and you're reducing the effect of the dry brushing. Dry brushing is usually used to highlight the raised edges.
Yeah.
And so it kind of makes those edges stand out against whatever model you're on, or whatever piece of terrain. We use it in amazingly enough, we use a lot of dry brushing in terrain painting.
Well, yeah, I mean, to get all the little, like if you have, say, astrogranite, and you want to go for a good lunar effect, astrogranite, Drakenhof, and then go over it with Longbeard, but just barely, and it.
Oh, so you're just catching just those little raised
granules. Yeah, you get a lot of practice when you do terrain with dry brushing.
Yes, you do. Yes, like I did a tile, and there was some dry brushing involved, and I was basically given just this really big brush. I'm sitting there going, okay, I guess that's how we're doing it. I went through so much paint with that dry brushing.
Yeah.
I went through so much. And it was like I had to start off light, going like I'm doing some weird handshake with the tile, and after I get it all thinned out, and I realized like, oh god, I got to go back over and kind of put a little more pressure. I'm pretty soon I'm just kind of like dragging the brush over the tile. I'm like, God, please don't break, because these tiles are great. They're just huge. They're like I think 2 foot by 2 foot squares.
3 foot by 3 foot.
Okay, 3 foot by 3 foot. Thank you.
No,
and it was they're plastic, but they're thin plastic.
Oh, no.
They're molded plastic, and it's just like, oh god.
So delicate.
And we broke the rules on that too, because I didn't like the way it. I didn't like the way the guys at Citadel, who did a great job on theirs, they did a phenomenal job. Their tiles compared to mine look just phenomenal. But for like for me, seeing it in person, versus over a video. Like, I mean, you saw the little mini, you saw some of the stuff I did. Seeing it in person changes the perspective of the piece. And a lot of the painters on YouTube, and even us, and we're going to fall victim to that as well, is, you know, what you see might look really, really cool from the camera perspective. It really will.
Lighting does so much.
Oh, absolutely. But when you see it in person, you get to see more of the depth. And I think that's where video is a medium for painters. I mean, and even Bob Ross stuff. Have you seen a Bob Ross up close, like an actual Bob Ross? But then you see the painting he does on TV. It still looks a little flat. You don't get to see a lot of the little, you know, where he paints the pretty tree. You don't get to see where the paint's actually raised up from the canvas. And so that's one thing that video does for painting that, I mean, you guys might not see, is you're seeing a flat image, and you're really not seeing the contour. You're not seeing the way the paint wraps around a piece. You're not seeing the way, you know, layering effects are really hitting on those raised edges. So like if you ever get a chance and you see one of your favorite YouTube artists or a mini artist or a terrain artist like making a diorama, which is something that I think you and I would really love to get into. We need to do an episode for that. Thing. Yeah, I mean, I want to do like a handmade diorama with you. I don't care what we do as long as we can just build it up, because I think that'd be a great, you know, tutorial.
Absolutely.
For people. But that'll
be really interesting on the podcast, going through like a whole visual medium of this radio. This is going to be hilarious to listen to.
Oh yeah, hearing the podcast that we're also doing, and we also have a Facebook, The Paint Nerds, and we also have a The Paint Nerds YouTube channel. And keep in mind, this is all very basic right now, and as we progress, you know, because it's literally just the two of us, special guests, and you know, we have to thank the Save Point for Tabletop Gaming More in Louisiana for letting us use this space, use our internet, and literally keep the shop quiet for us while we do this. And they've been very, 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 you know, forgiving about our time span, because, you know, we're both parents, and life tends to get in the way of everything we try to do. As a matter of fact, we're actually a week past from when we were supposed to start. Thanks, Christmas. Thanks, holidays. You ruined it, ruiner. But yeah, we're gonna build up. We're gonna get, you know, better splash screens. We're gonna get better intros. We're gonna do all that. But the whole goal of our little foray into this, and this is something you and I got really excited about, is we really want people to kind of embrace the painting world. Whether you're painting minis or you're painting plates or you know, ceramic tiles, it doesn't matter. You can use all of our techniques and all of our paints that we suggest. I mean, even the ones we don't suggest. I mean, you want to hit it with some spray paint and go after it with that, hey, go nuts, man. I've seen some of those spray paint artists, man. I could never do that. I'm pretty sure that is one type of painting I would fail at absolutely miserably.
No.
Like, there is no doubt in my mind, because I see those guys just like 12 rattle cans. They're just like, throw a trash can lid on there and a, you know, ping pong ball. Next thing you know, it's like, oh wow, you just made the entire cosmos in paint. It just 5 minutes. It's like, holy crap. You know.
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever do that. I would no. Mad respect to you guys. Just right now, mad respect. Just like I don't even remember the guy's name, and I hope he doesn't see the YouTube channel until I actually figure out his name. The guy who does the grimdark stuff. Thank you for giving me something beautiful to aspire to. That you are that next level, and I try to emulate all your airbrush techniques and fail miserably, but I am learning, and I think I'm getting there, and I have you to thank for that. So the grimdark channel on YouTube, definitely check him out. Any channels you want to throw out? Because I know you and I both hit a lot of the same YouTube stuff, but Grimdark's my favorite.
So my favorite is comic style. So bright colors, lots of ink lines in it. So that kind of requires more heavy, controlled use of
very
your inks
fine
and
brushes.
shades. Yeah. I'm drawing a blank on.
Yeah, there's like the minute
I had
you need
this
to
whole
shout
list
out.
of notes that I had, and it's at my house because I had to pack up a toddler.
Keep in mind that again, we are not unique in this channel forum and this set. And there are some, Rogers, the girls, the steel one, the
Sword and Steel.
Yeah, Sword and Steel, and I believe it's like steel with an E at the end of it.
Yes.
Those gals are brilliant. I'm going to say right now.
But still.
What?
Mainly one gal.
Well, it's one gal,
Yeah,
but she's
still,
brilliant.
yeah.
She is absolutely brilliant.
I will need to check them out.
Oh, dude, she is just on top, man.
So all of these show notes will be written down on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
In each episode, we'll have a show note section for like websites, YouTube channels, other Facebook pages to check out.
And yeah, it's and one of the other things is feel free to let us know what you want to hear about. I mean, there's a lot of painters out there that do amazing work, like OG Paintworks. I follow their Discord and I follow them on. I don't even have Instagram anymore. I killed my Instagram.
We passed the stream test.
We passed the stream test. Wait, Jarl Tier. Well,
Thank you, Jarl Tier.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it.
That's awesome, man. The very first stream.
We probably definitely know who that is.
I have no clue who that is.
We got grade B. Nice.
B for best.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna go with baller, but I don't know if that's too thug for our channel because we're nerds. I don't think we're allowed to use that word. And we are absolutely nerds.
Yes. We were the kids in the back row of chemistry class.
Yeah, and we were planning how to use sodium and potassium because water. And no, seriously, I actually was that. I feel called out because I was that kid in the back of science class actually trying to figure out how I could uniquely use potassium and sodium.
I grew up to be quite a chemist in your own way.
Yeah.
Chemistry plus color theory.
Yeah, there you go. I don't think that classifies me as an artist. But I mean, we're like 37 minutes in, and we're good. I don't care how long we go on the first episode because I just like being goofy, and I really want people to see that we're just two regular guys, two dads, just giant geeks.
Oh yes.
That love to paint and want to embrace everybody into the painting world. I mean I think that was kind of our prime goal for this.
And like going through different, maybe we could do like different games, take one mini out of them and say, oh, how would you paint, say, this clone trooper? And then do the basics, but then also especially with like a clone trooper, if you've watched the Clone Wars, they all have their own unique styles.
Wow, those Star Wars Legion minis those things are tiny. I don't think I
started on the Power Ranger minis, which are a lot larger, and now I'm down to the small, like normal scale gaming.
Like, man, getting Rex's helmet design down on that small of a scale.
Oh no, you don't do Rex. You don't do Rex.
No, I would have to.
You do the gritty ones that.
I would have to. If you're gonna sit there and challenge me to a Clone Wars paint off, dude, I would have to do Rex, and I would fail so hard, but it would be worth it. Really, that's okay.
Okay, I've got 4 Clone Wars. I've got 4 Clone Troopers Phase 1.
Okay.
I'd need to build and prime them.
Okay.
And then I'll bring them in for next time.
This is gonna suck.
Tell you what, I'll even have them pre-whited and white.
Actually, I'll retract that. I will not go with Rex because I have like one brush that is small enough to do that work.
And it's already
spent. But it is actually. But I would have to use my mag lamp, and I would have to cheat. I could not do that by eye. I will admit that outright. I would not be able to do that by eye. And when we say a mag lamp, it's literally just a really cool lamp that has a magnifying glass on it that has a ring light. I use it because I have really bad eyes, and the worst part is using it like literally takes away my ability to stay in light. I'm photophobic. I have ocular photophobia, so like literally being around light is horrible for me, and having that much light in my. I had a teacher that threw potassium in the sink. Much boom, such screams. But I mean, I guarantee you, having potassium in a sink and watching it explode as violently as it does would just be amazing. And
kids, don't put potassium in the sink.
Don't put potassium in the sink.
You shouldn't even have potassium.
If you do,
if it's not in a banana, it should not be in your house.
And if you do, make sure it's in a toilet and you flush real fast. We're such bad ideas. Oh my god.
And this is why we get a restricted rating on
right.
We're gonna get calls from the FBI now.
No, just kidding, NSA. Just kidding.
No.
We do not condone the destruction of school property.
Hey Siri, please turn off wiretaps.
Yeah, right. Wait, you're the only one with it. Well, no, he has an Apple phone. I have Android, so it's open source.
Cortana, please turn off wiretap.
No, don't, because I don't know if she can actually.
Pull a van away. Pull a van away. They know. They know.
Pull a van away. Pull a van away. What?
Pull the van
away.
Oh, I thought you said pull a van away. I'm like, what, are you going to flip a word? What, you going to flip a letter around on me? And do I have to spin a wheel?
Guys, we're live.
Yeah.
Stream of consciousness.
Stream of consciousness. Wow.
What?
We devolved from painting to, destruction
Yeah.
of private property to joking about the NSA, which, all on a good day. All on a good day. But seriously, to kind of get back on track, is painting is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be relaxing. You don't have to do what we do and paint an entire miniature or set of miniatures in one day. Inks versus washes, go. Okay.
Challenge.
Okay, for me, washes are great for a whole model. Inks, I find, are great for doing very, very specific, like, again, let me bring this up. So all the little grooves in the shoulder pad and all in here on the back of the backpack here is, I would use a wash over the whole model.
Hence the name. You wash.
Yeah, you
the
wash
model.
it.
Yeah.
And inks are used generally the same way, but they tend to be a little darker and they tend to sit better in the recesses, in these little edges where the pauldron kind of shows up. I personally like to use inks, like actually paint them on so they just kind of sit there and dry, and inks allow, when you use an ink tends to be darker and it allows you to see more of your primary details, like armor plates. Like you'll see the chainmail under it. I'll use an ink on the chainmail under a plate of armor, and I'll use a wash on the armor itself, and it creates that layer tone where you actually get to see the separation of the segments.
Want to know my hack for inking?
What's that? Don't.
So no. when you do comic style, you kind of need it.
Oh yeah, that is true.
I picked up a Japanese calligraphy pen.
Like the horse one? Like,
no, it's like a felt tip.
Right.
And it's like super fine point. If you look on that, so you look at 504 minis, the Red Ranger on there, all the lines are the black lines are from that.
Really?
Yeah.
You dirty bastard.
Learn how to cheat. Makes life easier.
When all else fails, cheat. Valuable life lesson. Just don't get caught.
It's not cheating if you get caught.
No, at that point it's just like manipulating, your surroundings or something. We'll go some metaphysical route.
Creative tool use. There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Creative.
Use your tools.
Think outside the box.
But yeah, honestly, when it comes to inks and washes, those are.
I use 18/0 for my really fine detail.
Like with washes, I'm gonna tell you right now, I airbrush my washes.
I don't.
I'm a horrible person. I airbrush my washes. Shit. Yeah, I kind of gathered because you kind of caught me with the numbers. Because I don't really go by numbers. Usually with washes, I airbrush. With inks, I use the finest possible brush I can. As a matter of fact, I don't even remember the number of the brush I used the last time I used an ink.
I only know my 18/0 because I specifically went through the art store and looked for the finest tip brush. And like, this is it. And I looked at them. Oh, okay. That was not a plan. It was just that's what I found.
Yeah. painting
I don't even
eyes.
paint eyes. Nope.
You know, I have a lot of respect for you right now
Yeah,
because
mhm.
painting eyes, like I painted the eyes in this dude right here with the finest possible brush I could get a hold of, and I'm going to tell you right now, when you're sitting there staring at a model going,
And that's not even eyes. That's eye lenses. Not even,
oh, if you
the
don't
naked eye.
don't even ask me to make
No,
a pupil.
mm-mm.
No,
Nope.
no.
Mad respect for all those who can.
Yeah, if you can paint eyes on a miniature, you're a god.
Yeah.
You don't even
We
need our
want you
channel.
on the channel.
You don't
We want
even-
you on it.
Yeah, we want to
Yeah.
interview you because that's a skill you can't teach. You're born with that.
Mhm.
You can't teach that. There's no way to teach that.
That requires the ultimate of steady hands.
I don't
drink
have that.
way too much coffee.
Speaking of which, dude, I'm kind of down by a pint. I need to make a pot of coffee. Yeah, I'm actually doing this on 2 Monsters.
Ooh.
And normally, I'm a huge coffee drinker. Like, I mean,
I can't do monsters anymore.
I literally that's how. Yeah.
I thought that was your paint cap.
No,
This whole
no,
time.
really? No,
That's a
that's
lot of
that's my
Wolfgang.
coffee. You know. Up this. What's Chris? What?
He's pointing to.
Oh,
He's pointing to.
oh, I cheat. I use jeweler's glass. Hey, it's not cheating.
It's not cheating.
If
It's
you can still
it's
paint the
creative
damn
tool
eye.
use. Creative tool use.
Exactly. If you can still paint the eye, it's not cheating. Because even with a mag lamp, I could put on 5 different levels of magnification. I still couldn't paint an eye to save my life. Or anybody else's life for that matter. So don't even bring it, well, if you had a choice of paint the eye or save your kids, my kids are going to go. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not going to lie to my kids that you're done, son. I'm sorry. You got to go home now. It's heaven's going to take you.
That got dark. Fun little talk about painting eyes and.
Yeah, it got grim quick. I'm telling you, I can't do it. I'm not gonna lie, I can't. I mean, I literally have the hardest time because my trick to painting eyes is this. I literally get the finest brush I can, and I literally get 1 drop of paint on the tip. And I drop it on there, and then I rub like this. I'll literally just rub the surface, trying to get as much of the excess paint out of it as possible. And then if I look at it and it doesn't look like it's spread too far, and I can't wipe anymore without actually wiping it off, I'm good. If I can get that, I'm solid, and I feel proud of myself. You ask me to do anything more than that, anything more. Don't ever ask because I will literally look at you. You know that's exactly how I'll really.
Jarl, which
No,
paints which mini did you paint for that?
Lord of the Ring mini competition in action.
Yeah, who'd you paint?
Nice.
Because they have, Games Workshop has some badass
Yes.
Lord of the Rings minis.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
I mean, I couldn't paint them with justice. I know. I mean, I could, but it would take me forever.
Yeah.
Like that would be.
I
That
have
would be forever.
I have an honest challenge for you.
Oh,
If
Jesus.
For somehow, some way, we're ever able to afford it for no apparent reason, and we get it, and you have to probably fight Sarah in a arena.
Oh, I'd win if I have to fight Sarah.
Well, you would have to fight Sarah probably for it, but Smog. Smog is the most expensive Games Workshop model, but Jesus Christ, is it gorgeous.
I would.
Not sure if the mic's picking up, Chris. Talking about Smog from Games Workshop being both the most expensive and the most beautiful miniature ever made.
Yes.
Probably not by man. I'm not convinced that it's not.
There was some god involved.
There
in
was
its
blood
creation.
sacrifice.
Yes, many a blood.
Yes, several chickens sacrificed to that one.
An elf archer. You know, that's actually, now that you say that, the elf archers are actually pretty detailed.
Yeah, we'll put a link to those on there. I'll give Games Workshop a shameless plug on those.
Oh, absolutely,
Yep.
Absolutely. They're expensive, but they're worth it.
Mhm.
And if you got it to nationals with an elf archer, you probably went above and beyond with all of your shades and tints and washes, because
gender non-descriptive descriptive dude. If you have a picture of that, please put it on our Facebook page.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
we want to sing its praises.
We will share the crap out of that.
Get off my lawn. Yeah. Oh no. We're gonna be like.
We're gonna
get a mat, a nerd
We're
mat.
gonna play.
I'm gonna get a TARDIS towel as a prayer mat, and I'm just gonna bow down.
Yeah.
No, even back in the '90s, the Lord of the Ring, anything Lord of the Rings, especially miniature wise, were really well detailed. They put a lot of work in the sculpts, And so, hey, cheers
that's
to you.
That's before the movies.
Yeah, that it was.
That's insane.
Very much so. So yeah, you guys did a great job. You did a great job getting nationals with that, and I applaud you, sir, because back in the '90s, I would not have had the tools and the skills I have now to do that. Honestly, genuinely, honestly, I would not have had that ability at all. Well, have a great day. Thanks for talking to us, man. We appreciate that. Having a fellow painter on the channel, quizzing us is actually pretty cool. We actually enjoy that.
Yeah.
50 minutes in. Wow, that time flies when you're just wow.
Yeah.
I don't even know how half these YouTubers keep their time down, man. This is 50 minutes, and I'm gonna have to figure out if we're gonna talk about anything more.
Supplies. What do you give me four supplies that are on your must list.
Oh, on my must list?
Yeah. Not paints, hardware.
Oh, wow. A decent acrylic brush set is always a good start.
I'll count that as one.
Yeah, that is.
It's all in one box. It's all in one.
Yeah. An airbrush.
Okay.
Mostly because airbrushes you can actually, if you're doing a lot of minis at once, you can just...
Yeah, that is handy.
And even strokes or just even painting. About 4. Proper paintbrush cleaning chemicals.
Okay.
Because I mean I like the soaps, but there's a chemical that we use that just it's a great solvent and it keeps your brushes conditioned. It's actually really cool. If you want some, I can probably throw some in a bottle for you.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I'm a fan of saving the environment, so
we do live there.
Yeah, I don't like using these kind of cups all the time. They're great for mixing paints, but I don't like using them all the time for my water.
Mm-hmm.
I like getting I'll buy something like this as a water cup for my paintbrushes.
I've got a coffee cup.
Coffee
cup of death.
Anything to keep from using 5 million plastic cups.
Yeah.
And I like having those cups you get. Citadel actually has them. They have the ridges on the bottom, and then. Another thing that they have is these little lines up the side where you can actually draw and roll your brush up to help keep the tip.
Yeah.
So those would be my 4: an airbrush, proper cleaning chemicals for my brushes, non-throwaway, ridged bottom or flat bottom or whatever. I mean, even if I have to throw rocks in there, I guess, and get the cleaning. And then, so that would be 3.
Okay, for me it would be water cup, cheap plastic plate for your palette, because you can actually see if you prime a little spot on it.
I would have to say a palette.
Yeah, you can actually see how the paint will look on the palette.
Yeah.
Decent set of brushes and a toothbrush.
See, when you say decent, I mean, you're kind of throwing out that whole bit of you don't need to spend a whole lot of money.
Okay,
I spend no more. I don't want to spend any more than like on the low end, $12. That's my low end for a pack of brushes, about $12. My high end, I'm gonna be honest, my high end for brushes is about $25. So basically double it, you probably get more brushes in there. And
a set of brushes that costs no more than $30.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
And then a toothbrush, because you can get really good splatter effects.
Oh yeah.
Or toothbrush, or a Crayola, like the Crayola brushes that we have. Just dip it and then just like that. Really good splatter effect.
Amazingly enough, that's almost akin to how we got the little star marks, the little stars in here. I literally took a brush, kind of wring it out a little bit, just smacked it on my hand, and just let the spray kind of. Yeah. So that's first episode. The takeaways from it are going to be simple. Don't follow the rules. Colors are colors. Brushes don't have to be expensive. They really don't. Mm-hmm. They genuinely don't. Don't be afraid to fail. And failure is a learning tool. We're nerds, and we love everybody out here, and we want to see the painting community grow. It doesn't matter. Like I said, paint anything because we need to put beauty in this world.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why you and I kind of mesh together really well on the whole painting thing. Is we want to put beauty into the world. Yes, my stuff is grimdark and warlike, but it's still a beautiful piece at the end of the day. So ask us questions on our Facebook. When we get a decent email, we'll throw it out there.
Yeah, comments.
Yeah,
like
comment,
I don't know where
subscribe.
the buttons are going to be on the screen
Just
when we do it. Just hit all the buttons that you can hit.
Yeah, it just like, subscribe, and ask away. And that's all we can ask you to do. And as we progress, hopefully you'll be here to watch it, and hopefully we can do more for you. Till next time.
Sign off noise and beer.
Sign off. Yeah. Beep, 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 beep.